The information discussed on Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell is believed to be from reliable sources. However, no responsibility is assumed for inaccuracies. No statement made on this broadcast should be construed as a specific recommendation of a particular investment product. Views expressed are those of the speakers and do not necessarily represent those of CBS Radio. Use only as directed.
Smiles, everyone. Smiles. And prepare yourself for...
Show me the money!
Ladies and gentlemen, the radio broadcast experience designed to keep your wallet in top condition. It's Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell.
Talkin' money. Talkin' money.
More money, more money, more money.
And now entering the studio, your guru for fiscal fitness, Jeff Tarbell.
All right. Good morning. How's everybody doing out there? Saturday morning. We're here live in the studio. We got a peanut gallery with me here. We got a couple guests, so first-timers. As Jeff Tarbell is out, I was going to say vacationing, but he doesn't ever vacation. He just kind of goes places and continues to work. But he is out back east dropping off his daughter at college. An interesting experience, I'm sure he'll share with all of us as it goes. So it's quite the event for him and his family. But we are here to entertain you, give you some information. We're going to talk a little bit about loans. We have a expert realtor here. We have some expert lenders here. So any questions regarding real estate, loans, finance, we are here. You can always call in at 339-1140 or 1-800-920-1140. Before we go further, we have our Chris Verlade, who always has some interesting information for us. What's on your mind, big boy?
Not much. It's pretty cool. We almost lost our team, which isn't cool, but now we've got two of our players going to play for Team USA, DeMarcus Cousins and Rudy Gay, so it's great to see our players thriving. I don't know if they're going to make the Olympic team, but it's pretty cool that they're on the U.S. team right now.
Absolutely. Were you out in the brigade on Wednesday night?
I was not. I was actually board hopping the game here.
Oh, okay.
But that's pretty cool in the playoffs right now, and they're going to have a home game.
Yeah, absolutely. I was out Wednesday night for the Sac Republic game, and we were in the McCooney area, so they had an event out there, a bunch of McCooney folks, and Taro was in the goal, taking shots. He was, as always, entertaining, so it was nice to be out there on Wednesday night. See the game at the Republic or a great stadium. We'll see what happens in the future, as Warren Smith is all over the papers this morning and in the last few days, looking at another stadium. A question I have, and we'll throw it out there real quick, and you can text in at 339-1140, is if we get an MLS team and there's a stadium that needs to be built for $100 to $125 million, would it be for or against the city, which is us, paying for that? So if you have information on that, you can call us 339, actually text us at 339-1140. Well, we could do that too. 44-1140, and we'd love to hear if you would be for or against the city putting up some money towards the stadium for an MLS team. As I said, we have a couple folks here. They're all staring at me with deer in the headlight eyes. But to my left here, I have Troy Bird. Troy, how you doing?
Good morning, Johnny. How are you?
Good. What's your claim to fame this morning?
This morning, or just in general?
Both.
Claim to fame, lender, Comstock Mortgage. I've been doing that for just a few years, about 23 years. 23. You're an old dog. I am an old dog.
Good. We also have Ryan Delphs here. He's from our Roseville office. Ryan, how you doing?
I'm doing great, John. Thanks for having me on the show today.
Good. What do you got going on?
I've been in the business for 14 years. Not quite as long as Troy, but it really is an exciting time right now in the market as far as business is going, as real estate. The real estate market is very solid right now, and so you're seeing a lot of buyers coming in right now, whether they're new buyers or existing people looking to step up. So
yeah,
we'll talk about that later on.
Absolutely. Sure. So we're going to talk about a couple different things in the second segment. We're going to get into some more loan-specific stuff. The third segment, get into a little more real estate stuff. And with us, we have Lillian Fulton. Lillian, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm the token female here this morning and a little nervous because I'm the newbie.
That's fine. That's fine. And you work with Lion Real Estate, is that correct?
I've been there almost 22 years and in real estate 25.
Fantastic. So we have some veterans here for sure. As we get into this week, I wrote a blog yesterday talking about the real estate market, what's happening, and more or less what is happening. A lot of people in the Sacramento area are talking about inventory kind of coming on board and maybe not selling as quickly, a stalling of inventory, stalling of buyers, and I'm not quite sure if that's all true or not, or if this is just a normal market. So we can talk a little bit more about that as it goes. I also had the privilege this week of going to an event that I used to be involved in, which is a charity organization, and Norm Shriver was there. Norm Shriver is a blogger, professional blogger that travels the world and basically blogs for different companies. He does one for Blue Water Credit here locally. He does a couple different things, and he's an excellent guy. But I wanted to make note this morning he's raising money for a Cambodian orphanage, and they're doing yoga at McKinley Park this morning from 10 to 11. So anybody that wants to support something like that is going to be down at McKinley Park from 10 to 11 doing some yoga. Also wanted to make note, a lot of open houses this weekend. A lot of things out there. I was at an open house the other day, actually last weekend, and a certain area over there in Roseville in the 95747. It's an area where a lot of single-family homes, but they have these 18-foot roll-up RV access garages. The whole neighborhood kind of RV access, boats, things of that sort. So Jill will have her house open at 9745 Duckweed Street out in Roseville, 9745 Duckweed Street, 4-car garage, etc., etc. Go take a look at that. New home sales pace similar to last year. I don't know if that's true or not. Every time you turn the paper, you look and see new home sales are up, they're down, they're moving forward, they're in single digits. I think it's pretty steady, and I think it's pretty active. So we've been busy moving along, so that is good information there. Sacramento housing's market cools off from fevered rebound. Anybody have any comments on that?
Cooled off in what sense? I had read that most of the distressed properties have now sort of been cleared out of the market, and that's probably helped a little bit. But inventory is still low. I think you would agree, Lily. Inventory is still very low for the first-time home buyers. It's tough in that 250 range, 275 range, very, very competitive.
It definitely is tough. It's important to have a good lender. If you don't have a good lender, you're in a lot of trouble. And I personally have worked with Comstock for about almost 20 years. So I have a good history with Comstock, and I really like the company. They have their docs on time, which I can't tell you how important that is.
Very good. Well, let's see if we can pull Mike in. He's MLS and SAC. Let me see if I can pull him in here just a second. Hey, Mike, how you doing this morning?
Good, how are you?
Doing great. What's happening?
Hey, I just want to make a quick comment on that proposed stadium downtown.
Yeah, what do you got?
I'm pretty much for, you asked if the city was willing, or if we were willing to support the city making some type of contribution. And as a Sacramento taxpayer, well, first I'm a soccer fan, an MLS fan, and a soccer parent. I'm for it as long as the city's responsible about it. I don't really have a problem with it. I didn't have a problem with the city contributing to the Kings Arena. I see already what's happening downtown with the spur and property value going up, and all of a sudden, these investors are buying stuff around the arena. If they're able to do something, I heard the rail yards might be in play.
That's correct.
I personally think it'd be a great catalyst down there. I think you would see something similar to what's happening with the Kings Arena. You've got a big little piece of property there. You throw a stadium in the middle, and all of a sudden everybody wants to be around it. And so I think if the city does it right, I personally don't have a problem with it.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you're saying there. Appreciate your call in. And if you'd like some River Cats tickets, we can get those to you. Chris, if you want to stay on the line, and we'll keep going here. Thank you so much, Mike. So, yeah, great comments there. I think if you're a fan, I think that if you have the Kings owners that are going to participate. There's a lot of backing there. And what do you got?
What's the amount, Johnny, that they're asking the city to contribute?
I believe the stadium is 100 to 125 million, and I want to say it's about a third to a quarter of that. So
And
about 30 million or so.
There's a couple different locations that they're talking about, like Mike said, Rail Yard, West Sacramento maybe, and I think there was a third location.
Yeah, I think the highlight is the rail yard, but
Right.
I think even if they donate some land or something of that sort, could be influential. So, good call in there. So our question that we had that we threw out there to either call in at 339-1140 or at 1-800-920-1140, or you could text. Our text lines are working this morning at 44-1140. If we were to get an MLS team and get a stadium, the city's going to pay a portion of it or would like to pay a portion of it. Would you be for or against the city doing that? Was essentially is going to be our money out there in the market. So if you can, text in. What do you got, Ryan?
Yeah, I agree with Mike on that. As long as we're fiscally responsible about it, then I think it's a great idea. Right now, especially coming off the World Cup, there's just so much excitement about soccer, and that was, one of the more exciting World Cups that I've seen. So.
Yeah, and in Sacramento, I mean, not to talk about sports here too much, but I think Sacramento, Republic comes, 18,000 plus people at huge stadium, the new stadium at Expo, full, inexpensive, great family venue, tasty cold beer, just exciting stuff. So that'll keep on going as Warren Smith and the other uppers just keep pushing that, and we'll see what happens there. So appreciate that. We're talking a little bit back there as far as, Sacramento housing market cools off from fever rebound. This is saying Sacramento's not alone here. California as a state has hit first single-digit gains in all home medians in 25 months. So is it cooling off? I think we've all seen over the last year or so where we had these huge gains, came down and slowed a little bit, pushed again, super fast, everything's multiple offers, and then it kind of fizzled a little bit. I don't want to say fizzled, but it slowed.
It did.
And not as much multiples, not as much overpaying, things of that sort, which has been all really good for our region in terms of getting our prices back up. We all know we had big, giant dips, which helped bigger gains kind of get back to where we were. So
I'm seeing a lot of contingent offers out there. People trying to sell their house, they're looking to buy a new house, and they get in contract on their new house, but it's contingent upon the sale of their existing house. What do you
That's where the bridge loan comes into play. And if they have equity, which some people have had equity returned to them, it's a good way to go. And John and I were talking the other day, too, about some of the things and changes for conventional financing for people who lost their homes or had a bankruptcy in the past. And, so there's some good news on the horizon there. And, John, I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah, we got lots of stuff there. We're going to kind of kick into that in this third segment. All the different timelines, different information like that. Lots of changes going on. What else did I have here? I got so much information. How to buy a house by using your 401k, your IRA. What else do we have here? We also have a couple quiz questions that we're going to be coming up. We do have our River Cats tickets as they kind of wind down a little bit, but we have about 7 pair to give away today. We also have some Round Table pizza, and we'll just keep going from there. I think Troy Bird has some interesting quiz questions for us. And
I do. I have 2 of them for the audience, and you just let me know. The first one is my favorite, so I'll start with that one when you're ready.
So why don't you lead into that?
First quiz question is has to do with the NFL and the NFL's most overpriced beers. There's 2 teams in the NFL that have the 2 most overpriced beers, and you have to tell me which 2 teams that is.
All right. So the first quiz question is, which 2 NFL teams have the highest priced beer at their stadiums?
Yes. And you wouldn't think one of them you actually would think it's
it's an easy one.
I'll do a shout out to my friend who's a city councilman in West Sac, Chris Ledesma. It's his favorite team, and nobody else is going to know that, but unless
He'll be calling in.
unless the one person in Clarksburg, where I'm from, Clarksburg, I got one listener out there, but no, Chris won't be calling in. But it's his team and then one other team, and it's not the teams you would expect.
Okay. Well, very good. So text lines are open at 441140, and you can call in at 339-1140 or 1-800-920-1140. Which NFL team has the most expensive beer in that stadium? And text in. We're going to be right back.
Jack.
Talkin' money.
Well, alrighty then. We're back to Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell.
All right. Jeff Tarbell is not here. As we round that out. So welcome back to the show. Jeff Tarbell is not in this morning, but I am here. John Fotorero, your co-host of the show. And we also have a couple guests, illustrious Troy Bird, Ryan Delfs, and Lillian Fulton. So thanks you guys for being here this morning.
Thanks, Johnny.
We started off the show with a couple questions. We were rolling here. Quiz question was, which NFL team and stadium has the most expensive beers? We did have a couple text line in. I don't know if we have a winner there, Chris? Okay, so
nice.
We do have a winner. Troy, what was the answer there?
The answer is the Super Bowl champs from my buddy Chris, the Seattle Seahawks and the Detroit Lions. And I can imagine the Detroit Lions, because to watch them, you probably need to have a lot of beer, and it's very expensive. The Seahawks, and when I watch them play the Niners, I got to have a lot of beer too for them. But that is the answer: Detroit Lions, Seattle Seahawks.
All right, very
most
good.
expensive beer in the NFL.
And I understand that's 725% markup.
That is a 725% markup. 765% markup.
Okay.
Sorry. Yes.
All right.
That's a bit of a markup. But
very good. So as Jeff Tarbell is out of the studio this morning, dropping his daughter off at school, we are here, and I was interested to see, Jeff does a lot of Facebook things, but the ALS Challenge campaign that's been going on out there. Who in the studio has done that? Anybody?
I have not.
Nobody got called out?
I have not, no.
Well, I was called out on it once, but because of the drought in California, I've decided not to participate to do my contribution to save water.
Okay, and there has been a lot of that going on, honestly. A lot of people saying, hey, we're dumping all this water. But I found it interesting. So since July 29th, the ALS Association has raised more than $53.3 million from new donors.
That's amazing.
With the viral social media campaign.
Yeah. There's a lesson to be learned there from these.
$53 million.
Yeah.
And not to completely get off track like we sometimes do here on the Talkin' Money radio show, but I did see that, let's see here, the video show that's going to be on Sunday night, MTV Awards, is not going to have, what's the gal's name that does the twerking?
Miley Cyrus?
Miley Cyrus.
I don't know why I know that, Johnny, but
she will not be on the show, but they have got more people attending and watching because of what happened last year with Miley's twerking. So different items, but people like excitement. They like silliness.
Yeah.
So $53.3 million raised from that. And whether we're wasting water or not, I think there's a cause. I did see JP Chase Morgan that they had about 110 of their associates there all do it at once.
Yep.
Let's see, who else was in here?
Facebook has helped out big time.
Yeah, I think it's the spread through social media.
Yeah, social medias. Yeah.
Oprah Winfrey, things of that.
Oh, Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift was in there, so lots of different
Quite
folks
a few
getting
luminaries
called out there.
Yeah.
So sorry about that little tangent there, but I found it's $53.3 million. Might have to do with a little bit of money raising for Lou Gehrig's disease there with the ALS. Let's get into loans. We talk money. Sometimes we don't talk enough real estate because we talk about it all week long. But because we're in the studio today, we're going to talk about the loans, different things that we're seeing. I had dinner with a gentleman the other night, and we're chatting, and he says, I didn't know you could buy a home without putting 20% down. And I said, wow, all day long you can buy a house without 20% down, primary residence. You can do 3.5% down with FHA. You can do 5% down conventional. You can do 10% to limit your mortgage insurance. And he was like, wow, do you really advise on that, to buy a house without 20% down?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, absolutely. If you're buying a $350,000 house and you don't have $70,000 to $80,000, you're going to buy at today's prices with today's interest rates and get into that home. You're going to have some mortgage insurance premium, but you're in that home. You got your tax deductibility if you're making decent money. And he was kind of shocked. So I thought we'd talk about, some of the things. I would say 80 to 90% of the folks I do loans for do not have 20% down.
I would agree with that.
Do not.
Yeah.
Yep, 100%.
So we're in agreement.
I think the bigger thing is you don't know what the future's going to hold, and you don't know what the interest rates are. And I did an analysis back in January where I took a $400,000 house, just for an example, and all things being equal, same down payment, the difference in purchasing power just by virtue of the interest rate hedging up took it from a $400,000 purchase price down to a $356,000 purchase price. So that's significant just by virtue of the interest rate changing, because the ratios all have to stay in check.
Right.
And what was that change? How much in rate?
Went down from 3.875, I think, up to 4.5, I think, at the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Probably pretty realistic there of an interest rate change. So we've been, look at the market. People say, what did the market do this week? I'm trying to think what did happen this week. I think they remained pretty steady. I was at 2 signings yesterday, and not to say rates, but they were very low 4%, and one in the high 3s. And as the escrow officer is doing the signing for the purchase, wow, you got great rates. And I thought, okay, we probably locked those about 3 weeks ago. I'd say we might be a little tad bit higher than that right now, but the market's just fantastic right now. I know the stock market's dipping up and down, but we're really seeing stable, low interest rates.
It has, Johnny, and I think they released the Fed notes this last week, and that sort of gave us an upset stomach to the bond market a little bit. But there was some dissension, I believe, with the Fed chair and some of the other participants that want to raise rates a little bit faster than I think old Janet wants to raise them. I think she's in the keep the rates low mode, at least for now.
Yeah. And a lot of folks that you talk to say, you can't crush an increasing market right now by turning up the interest rates.
Right.
It just can't happen. Whether, you're looking at statistics from new home builders, which are increasing their housing starts to continue. You raise those interest rates, it does have a direct effect. So that's what we have. We have great rates, but let's get back to loans. So 20% down, that just makes you not have mortgage insurance premium. You can go FHA with 3.5% down. You can go conventional with 5% down, and then anywhere in between. So another item to note: any of your down payment can all be gift. So if you're a parent out there who has a kid maybe with a job that's just getting started, you can gift them the money to buy an owner-occupied home. They can buy that home now as they grow and develop. They can either keep that home. If they're going to college, they can keep that and then sell it later. They can keep it as a rental, as an investment. What do you got?
Yeah, and I think there's also a couple other loans as well, whether it's the VA loans if you're a veteran. You can put nothing down and buy a house right now. Also, there's the FHA, of course, is 3.5%. But if you're a first-time home buyer, or even if you're not, there's down payment assistance programs out there that could get you into a house for very, very little.
How much is very little?
It just depends on the purchase price.
Right. Well, there's grants available in different areas. Roseville has a grant. The city of Sacramento has a grant, and they kind of come and go. That's where it's important to be really tied in with the lender, because they can keep a pulse on that and let you know when those funds are available.
Yeah. So here's a scenario: first-time home buyer wants to buy a $200,000 house. They are not a veteran. Let's say they're a veteran. VA loan, 100% financing, ask the seller to seller credit to pay closing costs. They're getting in with, essentially they can get in with zero.
Yep.
Okay, so
Correct.
that's probably your best VA. If you are a veteran, good opportunities out there. You can get in the first-time home buyers with our down payment assistance programs. A lot of times, at minimum, you're probably looking at a 0.5%. I usually say a 1%, so you have enough. But again, you're getting a loan. You're getting down payment assistance to cover 3% of that. You're getting seller credits as these homes sit on the market a little longer, and everybody's questioning what the value of my home is. You have the opportunity to credit back to the buyer if your home has the ability to. So that's helped. You had something?
Yeah, it's interesting how you say about education. People just don't know what's out there. And I had that exact same scenario, that VA scenario that you just described a few months ago, which was we had a client that was buying a house, and they were putting nothing down, and they just couldn't believe that was really possible. And I'm not even kidding you. The whole time they were just waiting for something to change, and I remember going to the signing, and they were just so happy and relieved, and so that was a great feeling.
Well, I have one thing to say on the VA. I've been around the block for a lot of years here, and a lot of old timers have a preconceived notion that the VA loan is it's really tough and it's really hard
That is
for
correct.
them to get an accepted offer and things like that. And it's not like it used to be. And I personally, this is something near and dear to my heart. I think that those people that have come back after defending our country, I think it's really important that we do everything we can to try to help them get into a house. That is so important to me, to the extent that I actually want to write a bill that gives a tax credit to people who sell their homes to vets, because they've had a tough time competing against all the Blackstones and the cash buyers and the investors. Right. And, if I'm weighing offers and I have multiple offers on something, I really, really try to push, for a veteran to become a homeowner.
Sure.
It's important.
Yeah, that's a good comment. So in the past, if you had a VA buyer, people were so afraid of what costs you could pay, how many costs were part of it, what inspections had to be done. And I don't want to say it's changed 100%, but it's changed about 80% to the good side. Lots of room there. So again, we're looking at educating. How do we educate? If you have any questions, call us at 339-1140. 1-800-920-1140. I think our text lines work and all our screens went black for some reason, but that's the lovely studio we have here. But yeah, let us know if you have any questions as we go through these. What else was I looking at here that was interesting? USDA loans. You have USDA loans for outlying areas, Lincoln, Placerville, different outlying areas there, which is also 100% financing. Ways to get started: talk to your realtor, call a lender. Typically, a lender might be your best starting point. I always say most people are afraid of the unknown. What's my credit score? How am I going to come up with a down payment? How am I going to do this? How am I going to, even last night I was having dinner with some folks, and a gal says, I don't know if I can qualify. I said, well, got on my phone, opened my app, put in the payment, how much do you make? 10 minutes later, I said, all I got to do is pull your credit. Let's go look at this house. We actually all got in the car, called our local agent. Can you show us this house? We drove over there, went in, looked at the house, going to write an offer today.
Nice.
And that's how it happens. So the unknown is, what's my credit score? I know it's bad. I don't have any money. And what we're saying here is there's opportunity, lots of opportunity to get into the market now.
Yeah, and the best thing to do is talk to a mortgage professional to find out, if you can't buy today, when are you going to be eligible? What can you take? What steps can you take to buy in the future? And we have a lot of professional experience in terms of credit and things that we can help people out on and advise them on to do to improve their situation and get them in a better place.
Right, for future planning and everything, too, because you can monitor your credit score, and you have the credit simulators. So if you pay off this credit card, how's that going to impact my credit score? How much will it go up by? And it makes a difference in rate. So it's pretty important.
Very important.
And I personally monitor my credit on my credit cards. You know, some of the different credit cards offer that now, and it's a free service, and you just kind of check it, you know, once a month and see how it's doing.
It's a very good idea.
I know there's some services that you actually get a phone call if you apply for something. Is that correct? I think that if I'm applying for a car loan, I will actually get a call or a text. Hey,
right.
Are you applying right now?
And I have actually set up alerts and things like that too. I've had my identity or a credit card stolen twice in 90 days. So, and they've called me right on the spot because last time I checked, I haven't been in Florida.
Gotcha. Well, we have a text question here that we're going to get to after the break. We're going to lead into our second segment here. We're going to start with our quiz question number 2. What do you got for us, Mr. Bird?
Quiz question number 2 is the cost of raising a child. Okay, so to raise a child born in 2013 to the age of 18, it will cost a middle-income couple just over blank. How much does it cost to raise that kid?
And that's excluding college tuition?
Correct.
Oh,
That is correct. This is just, 0 to 18.
Yeah, so as we've been talking on the show lately, more or less with Jeff's daughters going to college and looking at college, we've been talking a lot about the cost of college. A lot of our friends now, our kids are just going off to college in the past week or two. And then here comes this, I saw it in the news this week, what is the cost? It's an interesting number. So
it's also interesting, Johnny, that the estimate was released by the Department of Agriculture. They were the ones that came up with this survey.
So they're processing food costs, things like that.
Right.
So text us at 441140. Give us a call at 339-1140 or 1-800-920-1140. And we'll head off to break. We'll be right back.
Jack.
That's right.
Talkin' money.
And we're back to Talkin' Money. And here's Jeff Tarbell.
Here we are. So that's all. So here we are back at Talkin' Money. Jeff Tarbell is out of the studio this morning on the East Coast, eating hamburgers, French fries, and getting a little bit of city life in New York City. Before we went to break, we had a question, and we have some text questions we're going to get to. But the question was,
to raise a child born in 2013 to the age of 18, what's it going to cost? A middle-income couple. How much?
Yeah, so we got a couple winners there. We have the Sacramento River Cats tickets for them. We also have a text line here, the 916753. We can also get a pair of tickets out to you. We will need, since we don't get the last 4 digits, we'll need your address. If you can text back in, that's the 916753 number, and address and name. We'll get those out to you. So the answer, there's a couple different numbers that are floating out there, but about $250,000.
About right.
$250,000 to raise a child born in 2013 to the age of 18. $250,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think that's up from 1980. I can't remember the number.
It's up about 2% from the year before. It's up about $4,200.
Yeah, so and then just double that so you can get them to college and you're good. So figure about $500,000.
I'm just thankful my daughter's almost 18 right now.
So she's going to get size 9.5 and out the front door, or what?
Well, no. We're going to obviously encourage college and everything.
Double that for if they're going to college, and triple it if you get divorced, because that's even more expensive.
Okay.
So stay married.
So I saw this app this week. This app, and I'm not sure, maybe you guys have this app right now, but this app keeps your kids from ignoring you. Okay, so it's an app.
Perfect.
It's an app you install on your cell phone or on your kid's cell phone. It's $1.99, and you can use one account to control multiple children's phones. The app is currently only available on Android. I did not know that. But once you can lock your phone, your kid's phone. Once it's locked, they cannot call out, text. They can't do anything until they call you. So I thought that was pretty interesting. The app.
That is very interesting.
That is a good app. I like that. So we're getting in. Let's get on to some of our questions here. I got to get a little closer since I'm getting old and I can't even read this. But can you use FHA for a fourplex?
Yes, you can.
Absolutely.
You can do an FHA loan on a fourplex.
As long as you own or occupy
one of the units
as a primary residence. And
yes.
you can use rents from the other three to offset that. So the answer is yes. Good question. Great question there. What else is here?
And a duplex. Don't forget duplexes.
Yeah, so 1 to 4 unit.
Those work really well for even a first-time buyer.
They do.
Yeah, and another scenario for duplex or even a fourplex is you're buying a home. Maybe your parents are getting older. You want them close. That's another good avenue there. The name of the app we are using, I have an app. Let's see, that's from the 209. If you want to send in your name and address or email address from the 209, I will email you that app, and that'll help you out looking at getting qualified and pre-qualified if you like that avenue. Let's see here. 753, thank you for sending us your name and address. We'll get you out some tickets there. Looking at purchasing, we're going to talk about, we talked the first segment about different loans, getting in with 0%, 20%, anything in between. There's down payment assistance we talked about. There's some folks, many of us out there, including some of us, that have had bankruptcies, foreclosures, short sales, financial short sales, call them what you want, deed and lose, where you just hand over the keys, loan modifications, and we wanted to talk about a couple different scenarios, and guys chime in. You know, basically the ruling is the first time you can buy a home is after 3 years of a foreclosure or short sale.
Correct.
That's going to be FHA financing.
Correct.
Okay? 3.5% down or more. You're still going to have mortgage insurance either way. But after 3 years, your next segment's going to be at 4 years, and typically that's going to be a foreclosure. There's going to be 20% down, or 7 years. You tell me. After 4 years with a foreclosure,
Ryan, what do you think?
On a conventional,
yeah,
yes.
With a foreclosure, you're at 7 years with a caveat. Here's the caveat: Fannie Mae just changed their guidelines. If you had a bankruptcy and your house was included in the bankruptcy, so you had a foreclosure that was included in the bankruptcy, you can now buy after 4 years.
That's correct. That started August 16th.
Which that is exciting news for a lot of people. And when you go through a bankruptcy and a foreclosure, there's a lot of emotions coming out of that. And, you should not be ashamed. It happened to a lot of people all across the country. And that's where it comes in handy, because you may not have even checked your credit for all of this time. And if you did file a bankruptcy, I highly recommend that you check your credit anyway, just to see what your score has done after even about a year after the bankruptcy's discharged, because you may be pleasantly surprised, but more importantly, you also may find out some of the things were not reported correctly. Mm-hmm. Very important.
Yes,
and that's a great point. Is typically people's credit actually improves after a BK.
Correct.
And they think the opposite. They think that their credit's just going to be terrible, but it actually gets you in a better position.
It does.
Yes.
And that's where that monitoring your credit and, having one of those credit card companies that do that for you really kind of comes in handy, because it just gives you that checkpoint, and then you become encouraged when you see your credit score going up, and you know that if you get it up to a certain amount, that you may qualify for a better rate. And this is where it comes in handy to meet with a lender and have them run actually, a tri-bureau, all three, TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax, so that you know how all the bureaus are reporting, because they may not be reporting the same.
Yes, and I wanted to lead into that. So you can use all these different off-site credit tracking things, but when you run credit, I hear it all the time. Hey, I just bought a car, and why people buy a car before a house, I don't know. But
no,
99% of the people do it for some reason.
And don't go buy furniture either if you're in escrow.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at is, so I just bought a car. I know my credit's 758, and I said, okay, well, when you pull credit for a car, there's different information that goes in that credit pull, and typically they're pulling for one credit bureau. When you're pulling credit for a mortgage, you run all three, and there's a little more information that's pulled on that. So you're going to have different scores. So just because you've pulled or you have freecreditscore.com,
right,
all these different ratings, make sure you verify with a mortgage lender first so that you're working with accurate information. So back to timelines of when you can buy. I said the first time is 3 years. If you're a VA veteran, you can actually buy at 2 years. So if you are VA and have had a foreclosure or a short sale, you can buy at 2 years with VA. 3 years with FHA.
Correct.
4 years with conventional. And again, depending whether the house was in a bankruptcy, how it was set up. So that 7-year window isn't always reality. And a lot of, we keep touting, we're seeing it. I believe we're seeing it. A lot of this started in 2008. 2015 is 7-year mark of when we had all this challenge. So boomerang buyers, people getting back into the market, people that a lot of folks that I've been working with, it's taken that much time for them to whatever happened, a foreclosure with a bankruptcy, now their job's going, now they're 2 or 3 years into the job, they got some money, they feel stable again, and it's before that 7-year period, and they're able to buy confidently. And I'm starting to see a lot of that. So before 15 comes, we're going to see that, and I think we're going to have probably a 2 to 3 year run on that as far as with some loosening of the guidelines. I don't say it's easy to get a loan. I asked 3 of our processors yesterday. I said, if I was going to tell consumers, what would the one thing you would want to tell consumers out there if you could tell them anything? And these are the guys and gals that are processing all this information, and we're dotting I's and crossing T's and scrutinizing, not because we want to, but because that's what the investors and lenders are looking at. We want verifiable, solid information so that these things that happened in the past don't happen again. And they said, time. Know that when you're in contract or you have a loan that's locked, there's a 30-day window typically, and it's about getting your information in, being accurate, and moving forward as quickly as you can. And I agree with that a ton. You got Ryan.
Yeah, and there's such a dramatic change from 2004 to now in terms of getting a loan. Of course, there was that time where you could just get a loan and not provide much of anything. But today, because of the regulations, because of what Fannie Mae and our investors are requiring, we're just required to get so many different things. We need to, like you said, cross our I's, dot our T's, or you do that backwards. But there's so much is required that, and it starts with, I think, as well as just proper communication up front with your clients about the expectations of the process. And
do that right up front.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because a lot of people still think it's going to be as easy as it was in 2004, 2005.
Yeah. So as far as buying, VA, FHA, conventional, a lot of people say, I don't want to go with FHA because there's mortgage insurance premium. Mortgage insurance is 1.35 if I only put the minimum down. And I always say, well, all right, let's look at the effective interest rate. If your rate's 4%, give or take, and you have mortgage insurance, you're still at a less than 5.5% overall rate. You're buying a home that's increasing in value and or providing a place for your family to live. And so it is a great option. A lot of people buying now are concerned about the mortgage insurance, tax deductible, not tax deductible. How do I get out of it? I've been hearing it more and more and more. How do I get out of this mortgage insurance as far as refinances? So there's a couple different rules on ridding of the mortgage insurance, but that's always a secondary. We always say, you look at what your payment is now, can you afford it? If you're able to remove the mortgage insurance as it goes, great. If you can't, great. It's a place for you to live in. If the market goes up or down, you still have a home, you still have a roof over. So, but there are rules. Typically, at least 24 months, you're going to have that mortgage insurance to start with. It's going to depend on, did you increase the home's value by doing anything, not just out of appreciation. Also, have you been paying any more than the minimum requirement? So are you paying that loan down? At a 78% loan to original value, it's removed automatically. It has to be. So if you actually pay that down, grandma gives you the money and you pay it all the way down, they have to remove it. And sometimes I always say, well, let's look at current interest rates too to see what's going to make most sense there. So what kind of buyers you have lately there, Troy?
A lot of first-time buyers, people out there. It's very, very competitive with a lot of that, what we talked about earlier, that 2 to 275 range. Some move-up buyers, they're there, and but really, conventional FHA buyers. We talked about the VA. VA is out there a little bit, and as we said earlier, it's a great loan, but mostly it's it's the dual income, no kids or maybe one child, and looking to get into their first home.
Mm-hmm. How about yourself, Ryan? What kind of buyers you have?
Combination of first-time home buyers and people that are just upgrading, selling their existing house and or renting it out and moving, to a larger house because of circumstances, whether it's new kids or new baby or whatnot. So, I know we're going to talk about later on in the program about our flex loan. So
throw it out there because we're running out of time, big boy.
I've done several of those. So basically, Comstock offers a program that is for folks that are one day out of short sale or foreclosure, and so you literally could have had a short sale yesterday and could buy today.
Yep.
There's several caveats with this program, of course.
So if somebody wants more information, because we're running out of time here, the music's starting, we got about 2 minutes. How would someone get in touch with you during the week? Make it simple.
916-284-8432.
That's Ryan Delphs for you. He's got more information. We got loan programs one day out of short sale foreclosure. We have Lillian Fulton here from Lion Real Estate. Lillian, how would someone get a hold of you for any questions regarding real estate?
Well, my number is 916-485-5459, but I will be doing an open house this afternoon from 12 to 3 over in Elmhurst, East Sacramento at 5624 V Street. A really cute little East Sac charmer, hardwood floors, 2-bedroom, 1-bath, great yard. So come by and see me.
Great. Troy, how to get in touch with you?
Number is 916-977-1234. 977-1234. My daughter Delaney is just waking up. I'm sure I just wanted to say hi to Delaney.
Nice.
Just getting out of bed.
Go ahead, Ryan.
One last plug. I will be working an open house later on with my good friend Bredna Coster. It's at 1331 Muscat Circle in Roseville. So come on out. It's from 1 to 4. A beautifully well-maintained home. The price was just reduced.
Perfect. As always, you can catch me at johnfode.com, JOHNFOD.com. We'll be back in the studio next week with Jeff. I believe I will be here. I'm trying to think about my calendar in my head. But it's been a pleasure to share with you some information. We appreciate you being here. And we're going to catch you next week. Have a great weekend. Do good stuff.
So long.
Aloha.
Have a great day.
I thought it was 9 to 11.
Talkin' money.